Howdy, Ayebawl here, and welcome to another episode of Factorio with Arumba's Angel Plus Mods Mod Pack. So, going to take taking the advice of one of my viewers who mentioned that my steam engines were not receiving enough water. So, I'm going to take another stab at it and take a look at it. It may be the ratio is just all wrong. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and increase the power production as well. So I'll grab some construction robots, and I'll go ahead and build some boilers and some steam engines. So I get the roll port set up. So with 5 steam engines, it gets plenty of water. 6 is okay, but the 7th one, the water starts to diminish. So apparently 6 is the max for Mark IIs. And with 6 plugged in, you don't need 14. You probably only need 11 boilers. But I go ahead and leave the 12th one on just in case. So it seems that the ratio is 11.1 boilers to 6 steam engines. So I take a blueprint of that and I go ahead and dismantle the rest of them so I can go ahead and make room for the new ratio. So the setup I had previously, I had 80 steam engines and only producing 40 watts. With the new setup, I have 72 steam engines producing around 55 watts. So about 8 less steam engines and an extra 15 megawatts. So it pays to get the ratio right. So when I dismantled the whole power network, I pretty much got ahead of myself and went a little too fast about it, and the roboports pretty much just ran out of power. So I decided to go ahead and disconnect power from the rest of the base so that this particular roboport can get its electricity so that the robots can finish construction. So with the current setup, the way it is now, I got 72 steam engines, and I want to go ahead and place more. But instead of continuing along the path that I'm already using, I'm going to just utilize that space to the north and place some new ones up there. So I got to rearrange the power poles, get things cleaned up a little bit better. So one of the mods in Arumba's mod pack is that you can no longer um, dismantle the robots in the air, which I guess is kind of a good thing, but when they're all stacked up like that around the roboport, you can't just go pick them all up and put them back to work. You gotta wait on them. So 72 steam engines producing 55 megawatts. So I got an extra 15 megawatts using 8 less steam engines. But a lot more boilers, which in turns means I'm going to end up using a lot more coal. Get those nasty trees out of the way. They're starting to wither from all the pollution. So I had 4 more sets. So it was at 12. What was that, 48? I think I have 120 total now. So with the new power setup, with a better ratio and actually utilizing the steam engines to their potential now, with 120 steam engines, should be able to get a little more than 80 watts now. So most of the base is kind of stripped down. Um, Next episode is going to be a special montage episode. I don't really want to show the robots doing the deconstruction of the base while I make room for the later stages of Angel's smelting process. So I'll probably do a long recording and then splice it up some, make it easier to watch. So I'll throw the steam engines and the boilers into the chest so that the construction robots can get to work. And then I need to add the coal line, so actually get some coal up there. So to make sure that the coal doesn't get backed up, I go ahead and upgrade the belt line to red, and then where it splits off, it just goes back to yellow. So a red belt is actually twice as fast as a yellow belt. So I'm still working out the ratio of the flotation that I want to utilize. The flotation buildings, I think the crafting speed is like 0.75, and the Mark II's is crafting speed of 1. But they end up taking a ton of water. So I may just end up playing around with the actual ratio that I want to use offline until I find something that's decent. There's no point showing a bunch of buildings and buildings, then standing around waiting to see how it pans out. Add some, delete some. But essentially, the flotation system will get put down, and then after the flotation, it's the leaching stage. But essentially, this would be the basic setup here. For the other type of resources, I'm only going to have one line. I'm only doing 2 lines for the dark blue, or for the sapphirite, and for the light blue, is because, well, actually, there's the sapphirite is skipping the whole process. The reason I'm doing 2 for light blue is for the copper and the little iron that get out of it. The others will just have 1 because the resources aren't used that much. Mainly only for like 1 or 2 products. So I'm setting up the process to barrel up the sulfur wastewater, and the robots will take it up here. So at first I thought uh, the hydro plant that I already had would be sufficient enough. But it took me a moment to realize exactly how much purified water that each one of these flotation buildings actually sucks up. Here I'm basically checking the buildings. I was wanting to see how much the leaching system needed versus the flotation system. So just like with each line of, or each stage of the smelting process, you end up with byproduct, and in the flotation, you end up with these crystalline structures or crystallized geodes. So those will be shipped up to the north, just like the crushed rock and the slag. But that's going to be it for this episode. The next episode hopefully turns out good, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.